Alright, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I've just dropped everything on the floor. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an update on my pan in everything project pan that I am doing. It's kind of like a side project I'm doing against everything else. Essentially it is, I'm working on a blush, bronzer, eyeshadow and a highlighter each at any given moment, and the idea is to hit pan in each item. If it is a palette, then it is to hit pan on a item that I have number generated to work on. So that being said, let's get on to it. I should also mention that I'm working on it in chronological order of when I bought it, so oldest to newest, apart from my highlighters where I don't know what order I bought them in because they are my least used category. I kind of don't know what order they're in. I kind of semi-know, so for those I'm always kind of just like number generating which item to work on next. Before I get on to the items, I also want to mention that I forgot to do it in my last update, but I have kept the list on my spreadsheet. I'm going to go through the bonus pans I've created this year as well, just for fun, because I find that quite interesting to see what I've hit pan on throughout the year. But yeah, that being said, let's get on to it. So the first item we have rolled in is this. This is my Bourjois bronzer. I've been working on this since June last year. That's when I started this project. And we have not hit pan on this yet. As you can see, we are here. So this is a bronzer. This is my first ever bronzer that I bought. I've had it, I want to say, for like 15 or so years now. And this is where we're at currently. The dip has definitely got bigger, and as has like the markings of the cross or the plus sign, whatever you want to call it. Still not hit pan on this. I don't know how. It's just taking flipping forever. This still works fine. I've always said that I will throw out an item if it smells funny, if it reacts funny, if it does not do the payoff that it's meant to. This still has the chocolate smell as well. I have to admit it has definitely lowered in the last year since I've been using this pretty much every few days. But we are still not hitting pan. So I've actually used this 115 times since June last year. For this project I have kind of only, it's kind of weird that I like smelling this, but I do. But yeah, this is, Bourjois is no longer sold in the UK or sold to the UK as far as I'm aware. So this is kind of like a rarity to find these days. So then in October last year, I rolled in this. This was my ISO Party Eyes Next palette. I have no idea how I got this. This is from the UK store Next. They had their own beauty brand. This has been in my collection for years as well. This is my second oldest eyeshadow palette, I believe. It's definitely very old, so it's been here for a while. Anyway, the eyeshadow I had rolled in was the green shade, and it's called Emerald, which is this shade at the bottom. And in April, I hit pan on this. So we have rolled this out. This was rolled out in April. I think I did my last update on this in March, so this was just afterwards. I feel like this happened just after my last update, so I have just kept this here waiting for me to mention this, and then I can remove it from the list to say that I've talked about it. But yeah, this took me 48 uses to hit pan on. Happy days. The only reason why it's like a drilled format is because I honestly only really used it as an eyeliner. I didn't really use it for any like other eye looks. I just used it as an eyeliner. Pretty much like what I've done today with another eyeshadow. In February, I rolled in this. I believe I mentioned this in the last update because I think my last update was in March, April, one of those 2 months anyway. And this is the highlighter now. This is Kilowatt Metal Moon by the Fenty Beauty, which is Rihanna's brand. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. But yeah, this is what it's looking like. I don't know if you can see well. Oh, there you go. You can see there. We have had some disturbance, 100% showing. This was pretty much brand new when I rolled this in, so I don't know yet if I'm going to fully commit to hit and pan on this, or if I'm just going to like work on it until I get rid of the pattern and then roll it out and then roll it back in at a later date, just so that I can work on another highlighter for some time. Anyway, I've used this 28 times since February. So the current blush I'm working on is this. This is in a MAC palette, but ignore that. It's actually a single blush by Lord & Berry, and it's in the shade Lotus. And I've used it 23 times since March. You can see the rings now, very slowly. You can see the rings showing up. Okay, and then obviously when I roll out a item, I roll in a new item straight away. I don't wait for my video updates. So when I rolled out Emerald, the next eyeshadow, I rolled in this. This is a Bourjois Effet Lumière Trio d'Ombre Advive. I don't know French. This is in the Les Naturels. This is an eyeshadow trio, and it's in the shade Les Naturels 53. I rolled in this palette, which was my next oldest eyeshadow collection, and I then number generated, and you can probably tell from just looking at this on its own that I rolled in this shade, the middle one, which has got a hefty dip. I do think this is going to be panned and rolling out relatively soon, so 100% think in 3 months time when I do my next update, this will have definitely rolled out and I'll have rolled in my next eyeshadow. Those are the updates of my current items that I'm working on in my pan and everything. Now let's go on to my bonus pans that I have reached in other challenges or just by happening. I've actually written them down where they come from. I'm looking at my spreadsheet because that's got all the items on there. And we're going to go from chronological order from when I panned them to now. Firstly on the list is from December 2021. As I mentioned, I forgot to mention this in my last update, so that's why it goes back until December, because I think I panned this just after I did my update in the Christmas series. So this is the palette, and the eyeshadow I rolled out then is called Toast, and that is this shade here. You can see it's definitely got a pan in it. This was in my project pan at the time, and that's how I managed to hit that pan. The next 3 items are actually from my Lorac palette, and they all happened within the same month, all happened in February 2022. So let's go through them one by one. So the first eyeshadow we rolled out, or the first eyeshadow that we hit pan on, was number 7, which is this shade up here. This is currently in my 22 in 2022. That's how I managed to hit pan on it. We are still working on this. So when I hit pan on it, obviously it was like, that's when I first hit pan on it, not what it looks like now. So yeah, this is a few months later, and the pan's got that big now, which is awesome. Then we have got the 92nd shade, which is, let me just recall, is this shade here. You can barely see the pan, but there we go. I hit this in my project pan, and then also in my project pan I rolled in the shade number 41, which is this shade down here, and that was also hit panned in February. Yeah, really happy that this is getting a lot of pans in it, because it is my eyeshadow palette that's got 120 eyeshadows in it. So very thankful that I'm hitting some goals with this one, because it's the one that I have a lot of eyeshadows in, and it comes up a lot in projects because it's got like a fifth of like all my eyeshadows in it, I guess. So then also in February was a very popular month for pans. In February I hit pan on the eyeshadow that was in this. This is a Project Pan eyeshadow palette. And I hit pan on the 13th shade because I have two palettes of this, and I've named them 1 to 20 on my spreadsheet. So technically the third shade in here, but 13 on my spreadsheet is this one here. It's this green brown shade there. I hit pan on this in February. This is still in my project pan. I haven't hit all my goals for this yet, but alright. Then in April 2022, we hit pan on this eyeshadow in my Pan's eyeshadows, and it is the shade Olden from my Flawless Revolution Ultra Professional Eyeshadow Flawless Matte palette, and it's this shade down here. Very clearly have hit pan on it. Yeah, happy about that. That took me 4 months to hit pan on. Okay, then also in April, this is my pan that palette that I'm working on currently. In April, I hit pan on the shade Whipped, which is the third one along. So it's this shade here. Really hard to see, but there you go. Oh, there you go, you can see it there. I hit pan on this. It took me such a long time to hit pan on it as well. I was so ecstatic when that actually happened. Okay, this was also one that took me forever to hit pan on. So this was also rolled out in April. This is my Blush Nudes palette by Maybelline. This was in, what was this in? Oh, this was in my project pan as well. So this was that shade here. That took me like nearly 60 times to use, I'm feeling. 50 or 60, I can't actually remember now. But yeah, it was this shade here that I hit pan on. Okay, and then finally, the final item that's on my list, I hit pan on in May of this year. I'm filming this towards the beginning of June. I hit pan on Vermeer, but it is definitely there in this palette. You can kind of see it if I tilt towards the correct lighting, like right in the center. But in person, it's really hard to see. That is the final eyeshadow that we hit pan on. So I think it's been a really successful year so far with the amount of pans, considering a year ago I didn't really have any pans in my collection at all. It's been really exciting just seeing the usage in my collection and seeing items that are well loved. I've had like no desire this year to buy new makeup, which has been so refreshing. I've not fallen in the trap of wanting more. Yeah, this has been really nice. It's been like really therapeutic, I feel like, getting the usage out of items that I own. And yeah, my goal is still to finish items this year. I'd love to finish eyeshadows this literal year just to get like a head start in like finishing things properly. The only time I finished an eyeshadow completely is when I dropped it and it's all fallen out. So I'm actually trying to finish eyeshadows like on my own terms. Yeah, exciting. There we go. I'm really like enjoying project planning and like the planning life and all the projects that I'm involved in, like Deca panning for 22 and 22. Pan those eyeshadows, my project pan, and also my like A to Z project pan, which I'm doing as well. I mean, I'm not necessarily panning things in there, but just like getting 26 uses in items has been really fun as well, just to add more finesse to it. But yeah, there we go. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you guys next time. Let's see what happens in another 3 months and what my updates are then. Bye guys.